Welcome to podcast. The track hearing is Beautiful Dead from Danganronpa. Yeah, I love this track. I fell in love with it when I first heard it from a metal cover by Family Jewels. It's an amazing metal cover too. It's quite sort of eerie. It's a really interesting track because of how it's just composed, and I looked into the sort of music theory side of this, and the first two chords that are played in key, but then the third one is like off key. It's like moving the first chord down a half step, and obviously until it resolves, and this bit coming up. Yeah, I just love this track. The sort of chilling piano in the background, the interesting use of like, I don't know what that is. It's like a muffled audio thing, or sample, almost like a percussion track that's just been scuffed. Smoke bass and stuff. Also, it's got some really like, I'd never noticed that before, twinkly bits, so I don't know what to call them. But really high notes, and so like D8 ranged on above. It's really interesting. I love this composition as well. The way it just goes into a thingy that's like a call and response. And believe it or not, this actually was an inspiration for writing a lot of my music before. When I did a guitar tabs, I actually made tracks like this. There's one I made called Investigation in Progress, because this kind of reminded me of, well, this actually was inspired by this track, exactly. It sort of made me a sort of interesting style. It's such an interesting concept of call and response too. You got the calls of the piano, and it goes into this really melodic bit. It's just, yeah, it's absolutely genius. Some like pace breakers as well, and as someone who's also played the Danganronpa games, even though they're not the best gameplay wise, story wise they're great, character wise they're good. They're pretty good actually, I'd say, above average. It's great to listen to these tracks. It's one you can never really get bored of. Oh yeah, synths, forgot about them. But it's a unique style of making music. I don't think I've ever really heard anything like this. I sort of described it in I think in another Danganronpa track. It's more like the style of music here is like is it house music, but mixed with, say, the more chilling sort of key changes and composition. It's got the darker side to it, and yeah, it's just such a great track, and I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more attention online really. The only thing that actually became famous recently, weirdly enough, on the same game by the way, it was like that Danganronpa kill scene. I forgot the name of the lady that was about to be crushed by Monokuma. But that's become a popular meme at some point, and yeah, even Deep Rock Galactic got in on it, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I wish Danganronpa had more attention. It honestly is pretty genius. Yeah, various ideas it has, and obviously V3 as well was pretty mindfucky. It's crazy. But yeah, so I strongly recommend these soundtracks. They're some of the best I've ever heard. Just so different, and that's why I really love and respect about it. I haven't heard a soundtrack like this probably since these games. It's really hard to actually find something that's actually relatively different. Again, mixing like samples and all these different VSTs here, synths and piano probably. I think piano's a VST. Honestly, the more news and bullshit here coming out of the US, the more I just wonder when the fuck are we going to see the overthrowing and uprising. Because there's just so many terrible things happening at this point. Peace isn't an option. No matter how many protests you do, no matter how many rallies you do, there's nothing that's going to change it until action gets involved, it seems. And unfortunately the UK is going that route too, but that's obviously remaining to be seen depending on, well, one, how the local elections go, and second, how the general elections go. But in terms of, see what we're seeing here in the US, where Tennessee apparently passed a vote with a ton of racists saying that black people can no longer vote. in this. I can't remember what it's about exactly. Is it like the Senate or Congress? I don't know American politics that well, so I can't comment on the specifics there. But to even just suppress voting in general, and I understand this logically, is just bullshit. You could tell they're being paid by Trump in terms of the people who voted yes on this. It's such fucking bullshit. The amount of yeses that appeared on the screen is just ridiculous. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is literal suppression. At this point, again, peace is not an option. As I keep saying. Like, the world is in fucking turmoil and people are twiddling their thumbs like, oh, what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with this? Action. That's the only fucking option. I don't know what it involves exactly. It needs careful planning too, but also you need anti-corruption lessons first, so people need to understand how badly greed can affect you. And I've sort of already taught myself how to counteract it. For example, in real life, I get offered money every now and then, and even though I need the money, I don't take it because it would be greedy. So, and I'm not taking it, and I still suffer because I don't have the money, but I'm not going to take it because there's no fucking point. I'm not greedy, I'm not that corrupt either. I would take it, even though it would benefit me. Also, it feels like I can also be exploited by that person as well. As in, I could exploit it from that person, which is another area where I understand people take advantage of that. And this is no different in this US situation where sadly people are doing the wrong thing. And they are taking bribes, they are taking a point of view from someone who's inherently racist. Like, Trump literally keeps calling Barack Obama Hussein Obama. Like, what? Like, where has he even got his fucking name from? Like, isn't his middle name O? Am I misremembering? Oh, no, his last name, so I'm an idiot. Let me look again. Some reason I thought there was like a comma in his name, it's not. Hussein Obama. Oh, it is, okay. Didn't know that. I thought it was literally just like a remark, like, what the fuck? I thought he was trying to compare him to like people in Iraq or something, I don't know. But it's so fucking strange, but there's constant attacks on them, and it doesn't make sense. But again, people not realising that this is where action is required is just insane. And to a certain extent, this overwrites what working a job does, because you won't have any money with the way things are going. And then you see more ridiculous shit, like Trump building an airport so you can sell his merchandise, and you can only enter if you buy the merchandise. So, already being classist and completely narcissistic as well, as if that wasn't already obvious. But yeah, he's literally self-obsessed, and that's becoming a problem too. But as I said, it's dangerous. You don't keep this sort of stuff in check, and politicians aren't going to do anything for you. You got the Democrats who literally voted no on the stopping the Iran war, and even then, like, not much would have changed anyway if everyone had voted yes. Because there's so much fucking corruption. People really don't understand what sort of grip corruption has on the world, and it does have such a major grip. That's why you see wars happening now, rather than a few years ago where corruption was probably more tame. You're talking like 10 years ago. Even then it was bad, just not this bad. And that's why I say that action is probably the way to do things now. It's the only way I see it changing. That's just a fact, it's not a suggestion, it's a fact. So in like hypothetical here, obviously, that's how it happened, but also you need to tackle the corruption stuff first, because that's like one of the arguably most important point there is. And I think if you can figure it out with some people, you can literally realise the problem. Because there'll be people who betray you and exploit the plans and stuff. Like, it's it's fucking horrific sometimes. Yeah, it's quite a fearful situation at the moment in the world, and also just the US, and the fact they're also losing the Iran war, ironically, apparently, or at least losing parts of it. It just goes to show the US are a bunch of liars, and they are putting every single country's safety at risk as well as the economic situation. I don't think Iran are necessarily going to let it down, to be honest, and in fact I think if they can ever deal with Israel, if they are dealing with Israel, I'm not actually 100% sure on that. I'm confused by like what's going on between Iran and Lebanon. I can't figure out what's happening, but it's likely they're going to deal with that with Israel anyway, and wherever US is stationed, which means UK as well. So again, it's compromising us too. They could just say like, no, we want to stop the war because we don't want any involvement in this, literal truce. Let's stop supplying Israel as well, that would help. But no, this puts the target on our heads and compromises everyone, which again, goes to the beginning, action over peace, action over protest rather. And that's probably the only way we're going to see change at this point. But yeah, not the best way to open see this. You know, I want to see the world go back to normal. I want to go back to where it was at least 10 years ago, where there's very few issues and not as much bigotry as there is now. And also there's some bad things about the past, but still, you just really miss the situation with how things are, and you just wonder what the fuck is going on, how are you going to actually tackle the situation, given that there's also like rumours of like a water crisis of all things. Like, how the fuck are we even going to get through that? I use so much water just by virtue of being such a mentally ill and physically ill person. It's like I'm going to be worse affected by it. So I don't know, when I have like flare-ups or just a morning bowel evisceration, it's probably going to be like a few litres of water, but I'm going to have to basically not use it. Basically let things stack, and it'd be horrific. I can't imagine how bad a water crisis would be. Although I do question like how safe it is to like consume water through like something else. So I don't know, like gathering seawater for example and filtering it. But then it just makes me wonder, why the hell aren't we finding a solution to it? Because if it's such a big problem, surely someone has to figure something out. Like a way we can use our waste to create water, the way we can use, let's say, the ocean for water, and even those unclean rivers, which have been contaminated by various industries. There has to be a way at this point. But everything's in danger because of just mismanagement, mistreatment. It's just fucking ridiculous. And you got this shit with the Hantavirus, and I think, if I've read it correctly, I'm pretty sure the US allowed people in with that. So they're putting things at risk here. They're putting the fucking world at risk with that shit. Like, are you kidding me? It's just ridiculous. Like, for fuck's sake. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. Like, what the hell is going on? Seriously. Yeah. Just trying to think. So yeah. So what's this? Canvas hack. I noticed on Blue Sky. Over 300,000 pen users affected in Canvas hack, cybercrime group claims. Booting your system since apostrophe 19, smiley face, trying to hunt inspiration structure again. Instead of contacting us to resolve it, they ignored us, did some security patches, a warning. If any of the schools in the affected list are interested in preventing the release of their data, please consult the cyber advisory firm and contact us privately at talks to negotiate a settlement. You have till the end of the day by 12 May 2026 for FFXIV. Infrastructure still has until EOD 12 May 2026. What? That affected school tax. There's an IP. What? Doesn't make sense. There's us on. There's a what hero? Don't even fucking know at this point. Yeah, this is strange. What the fuck even is Canvas? Like, what is Canvas? Instructor community? Web-based learning or something? Educational company, technology company based in Salt Lake City, United States. Web-based learning management. I'm confused. What the fuck even is this about? What is it even in my recommended, and what the fuck is the problem with it? Well, I don't understand what I'm seeing here. This isn't news even. No, news isn't even talking about it. I was trying the news, but done it. Found it. There's the students and teachers' data. Okay. So basically, a fucking cybercrime site. It's just, again, the world is just falling fucking apart. And what's the point of even getting this data? I don't understand that. Like, I'm struggling to understand the motive here. Like, what even is the fucking point? Doesn't make sense. Also, like, how is it even going to be addressable? It keeps happening because people are just fucked up in the head. There's even that thing about, like, with enough scalpers on Pokemon cards and stuff. Just like, fucking things are going wrong quite badly. Just, it doesn't make any sense anymore. Yeah, I don't really know, but other way. Yeah, well, just going to shit again. This is again another warning. I don't think anyone's safe anymore, to be fair. You never know. Because there is always something around the corner. Again, it's really unpredictable. You don't know what's going to fucking happen. You could be robbed, you could be hacked, you could be anything. And there isn't really much way around it other than just praying, I guess, and luck. But also, I think, worst comes to worst, then I think something needs to be done. Something needs to happen so that this shit stops happening. Hold companies accountable, and especially the ones at the top who are not funding it. And again, let me repeat that, the ones at the top. Not the ones who are working for them. The ones at the fucking top. Why can't people wrap their head around this? It's not difficult. And yeah. It's just getting more dangerous, as I keep saying. It's only going to get more and more dangerous because people will realise it sooner or later. Again, with the AI thing I mentioned in the previous episode. Was it previous episode before, I think? And we literally see that shit. It's like, yeah, obviously it's best to look away because pretend it never happened. But that's only because they treat us the same way. They pretend we don't exist. We pretend they don't exist. You reap what you sow. And that's the saying goes. Yeah, with enough it's all kind of connected as usual. So don't be surprised by that. Well, nice people should have nice things happening to them, but bad people should have awful things happening to them. It should go without saying. Anyway. So, peace, I guess. I might as well just call myself hyperviolence or something. It's just fucking stupid. I can't believe it. Let's move on. So, probably part one of the election results for the local elections. Some interesting things, but also some really scary things. Well, Reform are already winning with 352 seats, which really sucks. But at least it gives time for the general election to realise that they're a bunch of jokers. and they're not actually serious about their job, they just care about the fucking money and being racist. So, yeah, it gives us plenty of time to see how people hate it actually. Labour has lost at the moment, as of I've got 8th of May, early morning, 9 o'clock. They've gone down. They're down to 249 or so. Like, okay, Reform has 2 councils, which is interesting as well. In fact, they've got few councils. Labour has gone down to 8 councils. Lib Dems have gone to 56 councillors and 1 council. Then Conservatives have gone down 138, no councils. Greens have gone up 25 councillors and no councils yet. So, yeah, it's a bit weird really, I have to admit. And what about other things? Because they got like different maps. Oh, it doesn't work. No thanks, Wikipedia. I won't obviously announce what my place got, but either way it would be something. So what's this number? Aggregate seats contested by party. They got multiple at the top here. The Greens with 89%, Labour with 97, Reform with 95, Conservative with 94, the Dems with 78. That does sound right. Your party was 0.4, sorry. It's kind of funny though, because your party just don't really do anything, sadly. They've argued constantly, I think, since they started. And yeah, it's a bit silly really, even though I don't really respect either Jeremy or I forgot the other lady who started the party. I don't really respect their actions in that sense, but you know, for what they're fighting for, you know, Palestine, I can respect that. I'd rather like your party over Conservatives, obviously, or Labour, rather that. So some more stats here. So they're quite interesting, like, okay, just took me away from that. Seats, there's a bunch of seats for each, which is interesting. Does this, what is this anyway, cancel? I don't even see my council, you know, what the fuck? Unless they're just doing it as they go. It's weird. Doesn't matter that much. Oh, there's county councils. Is that? No. The fuck? Okay, I don't know. Not that it's a big deal. I'm kind of surprised by the results. Is this even the recent ones? I don't know what this fucking is. Yeah, like, as usual, it's just a lot of garbage. But you know, as I said, one of the positive things from this, again, we could take is that there's always time for reform to completely fuck things up, and that's probably a really important point. So obviously with like Labour still being somewhat in a race here, which is also kind of interesting given the failures they've done. But the problem is it's basically 2 rather 3 far right parties now in the lead, which is a massive issue. And so somehow we've got like a David versus Goliath here. Because now the Greens and Lib Dems have to actually be able to do something to obviously win these seats in a later election, but also when it comes to the general elections, I think there needs to be some improvement there. They need to actually do something as soon as possible. I think with the Green Councils, I think the best thing they can do is make a great name for themselves, obviously, and just talk about policies and make them happen. So I don't know exactly what like the local elections does exactly. Let me look. English local authorities, councils, mayors seats. I'm not actually sure what they are about, to be honest. I just assume they were for like each sort of town and city and village, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I never actually thought to look into it. It's just weird. Because, you know, it's sort of the first one I've actually been into. But again, it's just this local elections, it's not really anything. It's interesting that the wiki brings up the Peter Mandelson scandal. Fucking. It's just cringe. Jesus Christ. Yeah, was that 2025 local elections? It's interesting, back when Greens were. I didn't know Zach. And they had one council back then, which is interesting. It's kind of interesting. So, the May 2025 ones, it seems. So, Nigel Farage, for some reason, still has a lot. Is this even correct? 2025? Okay, yeah. So they won 677 council seats. But this figure's confusing. It's won 677 and councillors 804. And then 10 councils. Oh, I'm confused by this fucking description. This is actually stupid. Doesn't speak English, so I don't even know. Yeah, like, again, it's just more time for them to fuck up, which is probably always going to be a good thing either way, even if they are doing some really shitty things. I did look at Blue Sky briefly, and there are people saying that the green gains are quite bad, and I don't know, it's quite bad really. I've seen positive and negative comments about Greens and UK elections just not looking positive, and then I saw this delusional Blue Sky user saying that Green gains where I can't see them for all the Green cope, and I literally replied that more seats is what they're getting. Where no councils have moved under Green control, up to 27 councillors nationally, which is laughable. Where's your Green wave? Like, they don't even fucking know how it works, and I don't even know. But I understand it more than you. It's just fucking weird. Like, based on what I understand about even like the green things anyway. And I will say they started from pretty much nothing from previous elections as far as I'm aware in terms of MPs and stuff. I'm pretty sure they only had like 2 or 4 in like 2020, and that was general elections I believe. But I think obviously as we're seeing now, I think they've probably got more seats. I think that's what I saw, is that correct? I think there's a post about that. So let's see, overall number of seats. Labour 38, Conservative 12, and then everyone else got 0. Doesn't sound right. That seems like a bit of a made up number. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. What is it even sourced from? There's no context for it. So, something here, more in common, says General Election 2024, Greens were 7.4, 2026 result 7.9, 17.9. But Reform have like pretty much doubled their thing, but Greens have actually like almost tripled. Which is interesting. Labour have obviously fallen, Conservatives fallen. Lib Dems are really tiny now, what the fuck? Yeah, again, I'm not sure what a lot of these mean. I think again we're looking at probably more wins for Greens overall, just as we start to rack these the votes up and whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of people in Blue Sky saying that they are concerned about the state of the world, and yeah, and they agreed to win. I'm so fucking afraid, dude. Yep. Not surprised but disappointed that Labour in the UK under the same delusion as Labour here. What? That hardcore left voters are turning racist and fascist rather than green. Yes, Reform are a concern, but if ostensibly left-wing parties want to keep left-wing voters, there's an obvious solution. Is it implying that we need to be a bit more fascist and racist? Like Greens? Because I did sort of say before that they need to sort of feign caring about those problems that the right are. That was actually something that I suggested, and they did sort of take it into account with some, what was it, some, I forgot where it was. I think it was actually an interview with one of the councillors of the Greens, and I was surprised to hear her say that, yes, we care about the immigration problem, we think there are too many coming in, but we also need to put Britain first, which is actually 100% true, it's justified. But it's not even like inaccurate, like Reform are doing. So they're saying numbers, but Green are just addressing it as a general thing, and it's actually kind of clever. But obviously, unlike Reform, they're not putting numbers out there that are fake. And you go onto the Reform page every single fucking weekend, I think it is, they post about how many immigrants came into the country. Greens are not doing that. In fact, it's about putting Britain first. They're as national or as nationalist, I think, in terms of patriotism that you could get. It's so fucking weird, and then it makes me wonder how many Reform MPs are actually like what they're accusing the Greens of, the Reform voters, saying, oh, it's been infiltrated by Muslims and Jews and stuff, and we're going to have to follow like Sharia law. What a fucking irony would it be if Reform had a fair few Muslims and Jews? Like, come on. It's so fucking dumb. Reform played a blinder. They have excited half the idiots to vote for them and then attack the Greens as if they're an enemy, leading to people to double down and vote Green. Farage will be happy with the Green results than anyone else. This country is on a race to the bottom, yeah. Oh man, I'm anxious all day until the results come out, and then tomorrow I'll be happy if the Greens, again if the Green win, despite if nothing changes, and mad as hell if Reform wins. And then there's like the BBC coverage of this. Someone's saying it's inaccurate, as I expect from them nowadays. Complete headline to numbers above, Tories, Lib Dems, Green. Yeah, I don't know. Saying like Reform has 352, Labour, I said Labrador, if only. Lab has 245, Lib Dems 238, Conservatives 223, Greens 48. But still, it's more far-right parties than left parties here, it seems. Also Independent is like 20. But still too many. Like, as a total, I'm looking at 800 for the far-right, and about 300, yeah, 300 I'd say, for the left. So it's again like completely unstable. At least we have people, but it's not good either way. It's just not looking great for anyone in this case. But you know, there's a growth in like Green council seats and stuff, obviously, as on the other post put it. But yeah, but this is already like just part one of this, so you know, obviously take it with a grain of salt and be too worried at the moment. I don't really know what could happen exactly, but I know whoever gets voted in where I am locally, I am going to fucking send a letter, regardless of who you are. I'm going to explain my situation, and you're also going to have to try and help accommodate me, because I'm so fucking fed up of just being in this living situation that I'm in. And, you know, with the world essentially feeling like it's taken a turn for the worse, I need to be in the best possible situation I can. So at the moment I'm suffering, I'm miserable all the fucking time. In fact, I've got bills here to pay. You know what I think of them, because I'm not actually going to help you. I just want to fucking tear them up, because I'm fed up with this. Yeah, fuck off. I'm not getting the money until you give me money. I'm not paying it. It's a fucking joke. And if they have a problem with that, they have to also try to justify the bill payment. So, yeah, I'm just tired of this shit. It's fucking annoying. I'm not paying that shit. It's too much money for me to pay it. Too much money I have to pay on myself because I have to support my issues. And with the like sort of Reform and Conservatives and even Labour, because they're getting a far right party now, it's looking like I'm going to be unable to pay things. So I'm going to need all the money I can keep. Because you never know what's going to fucking happen. You know, if council or local elections, whatever this is, like seats or whatever, MPs, if they don't pay for my issues, then I don't know, or at least help support my issues. Like, I'm not just asking for money, I'm asking for a solution. And the solution could be whatever. It could be like relocating me to a proper house, or even just like a tiny home, or even if it's possible, like fucking somehow if you get me into driver lessons, like an electric fucking I don't know what you call it now, not tiny home, like motorhome, I guess. You know, an electric motorhome where I can obviously do all my gaming and stuff, like hours of things, and you know, I have places that I can actually station up, but you know, I'm kind of like, it's like I need solutions to my problems. That's what I'm saying, because I'm going through so much stress. I had one weird spout of diarrhea today and a stomach ache. No idea where it comes from. And also I stink because there's no fucking cleaning up this mess, because it's just the nature of ulcerative colitis. Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. Anyway, that's obviously part one of the election, so again we can only hope. Would say fingers crossed, but you know, that didn't do anything before. Even then, when it's like, I remember when Labour got in and people were saying like, yeah, things are going to get great now. When they, in the general election, I mean, they say things are going to get great, but no, nothing happened. It fucked everyone over, and yeah. Again, still time for Greens to make a comeback. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So I guess it's the kind of discussion I could have. It's kind of interesting, but it's also annoying. Given obviously the landscape in politics at the moment, with Reform gaining a crap ton of seats, this obviously being bad news for just the general population, because not a lot of people realise that Reform seeks to cut welfare and not actually help the working class, which is one of their pitches, the exact same pitch as Donald Trump, who promised to cut lower bills. That is literally textbook Trump. Like, it was so fucking obvious from the start, and people ignored it. They looked at the other things they were saying, like, oh, we're going to tackle immigration, we're going to do all this, and then what happened? Well, the actual Reform councils that existed didn't do well previously, and now it's seeming like it will do the same thing again. But obviously with new laws and policies that probably will come as a result of the Parliament and general election, I'm not sure if that's how it works, so to be fair, I'm expecting an absolute clusterfuck in terms of the amount of problems we'll see in the world now. So things like refusing to cooperate with the EU, cooperating with Trump instead, which also puts us in the light of a possible nuclear war, because, let's be honest, if we're housing Trump stuff like before, it just doesn't make fucking sense. It's absolutely ridiculous, as I said before. We shouldn't be housing US troops here, which puts us again in the spotlight. Like, what the fuck is Starmer doing? But even then, they're not going to change what Starmer is doing, because even though he's fucked up massively and people trust that Reform will do something better than Starmer, it's not going to do anything. Because we're just reverting ourselves back to the type of politics that we promised not to even have. It's literally the same as Conservatives. Yeah, they were threatening to cut welfare, they were pretending to be on the side of workers from what I understood of it as well. And then doing weird shit with the economy as well, I'm pretty sure they're doing that. Cutting NHS as well. But Reform are looking to just be like the nail in the coffin in that sense. And obviously it's not looking good, so what am I going to do in case this does end up having the worst possible result? And it's a good question to have and good thing to ask ourselves at this point. Because I think if we're not asking this, we're potentially putting ourselves and our lives, our families' lives at risk as well. We need to actually discuss it, because there's no telling what can happen now. It could be literally a case where, oh, tomorrow they're sending over, I don't know, police or the guard, National Guard, whatever it is we have here. I don't know who it is actually. Being the equivalent of that, and yeah, essentially sending them over here to take people away from the homes for illegal immigration, for being disabled, for being anything minority related, including black, which, ironically enough, I don't think a lot of black people realise, because there are, I think, a lot of black people voting reform somehow. I'm not exactly sure how or why, but that's basically self-owned there. Great, you completely fucked your own people, but great. What do I even say? But now I'm thinking what the options are for just overcoming the reform bullshit in terms of how they'll treat us, how they'll address problems and stuff. And I think the most obvious thing is, like with a council, I think the most important thing I could probably do is just not give in to them. Simply to resist, because they want you to essentially be submissive and expect that they'll get you on their side, or they'll actually like arrest you or something. Like, it's really unpredictable at this point, especially with how much back and forth there has been with reform and what they've been doing. So it is like actually sort of worrying, because there is no telling what can happen. So we do need to have a case where, yeah, like we need to be careful, and I think making a plan to address it is important. And I don't know about specifics in my situation. I think if someone were to come around, obviously I'd ask the usual things like, do you have a warrant? Do you have any sort of permission or anything, any official sort of documents? Because that's how it's going to have to be handled. You can't be committing war crimes, otherwise some other countries will get involved. Because, yeah, and just because America got away with it doesn't mean that any other country will. I think people will look at America as an example of how any government could get away with things, but that's not how it works, unfortunately. Because some countries are better equipped than others, some are stronger than others, for that matter, even the general population. So it's a dangerous idea to even send authorities or even military into civil zones. So that's never a good idea. But obviously tackling that is probably going to be quite easy, given what they're going to be doing to the military anyway. I'm pretty sure reform are going to fuck it up. It might fund a lot of money into it, put a lot of money into it or other, but I don't think that necessarily makes it stronger. Because if you've got problems in the country, then you're going to have problems everywhere else. It's called the domino effect for a reason. So yeah, that was the other thing. I suppose I'm not going to pay anything related to council, because if it is a reform, council and councillor, I'm not going to really pay for that. Like, fuck off. I don't care what's going to happen, I'm just not paying for it. Because I didn't vote for this. I'm probably going to get extorted for a ton of money for some reason, even though I'm disabled and it's been proven and I've had it for years. Just going to be so much injustice. It's something I'm definitely expecting from this. But I just won't pay the fucking bills, like, piss off. I might even try to find a way to pull my sort of, because I'm not in control of every payment, but I might find ways to pull it. Because it is just absolute injustice. And yeah, if I can't afford it as well, like, doubly so. I'm not obligated to pay for it. And when they're cutting welfare and they're saying, like, where's my money? You cut the fucking welfare I used to pay for it, you idiots. What do you expect? It genuinely doesn't make sense, and in the court of law that won't even stand. I'm pretty sure of it. If the court is even any more hopefully if they're not corrupt. Like, just, yeah. It'll just get fucking weird. But hopefully the court would side with, obviously, the average person. Because you literally need to be careful with it. And, you know, people will be outraged by those various things. Like, look at the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, the entire catalyst for that was someone being unjustifiably murdered in broad daylight with very excessive force. And that being obviously restraining the airways. The guy saying you can't breathe, and then they don't listen. There was no care put into it. Didn't even move location. But yeah, like something like that happens, you're fucked essentially. It's going to be a civil war. So again, I'm not paying for anything. It's not going to work in that case. I'm trying to think what else there is. I think as well, there's probably this is more like a prediction. I'm not doing it, but it's a prediction. With obviously the welfare cuts, there's going to be no NHS anymore, and people are going to start doing essentially black market dealings everywhere. Because there's no other way to get these things. They're going to probably make like pharmaceuticals more privatised too as a result. I'm not sure how that works exactly. But that's probably going to cost more too. And they're also obviously trying to do like a Trump situation where they're probably going to fund the war and, you know, given how narcissistic Farage seems to be already with like distributing shirts and stuff, like football shirts that look like just cringe. It's looking like. So I just noticed there's not really many women in the reform space, either as councillors or even just voters. Which is interesting. Yeah, that's really weird. But no, it's actually going to be Trump 2.0. There's no doubting that. I think probably the only good thing you could probably say about Farage, I could be wrong about this, is that at least it's not in the Epstein files or even associated with that. But even then, I won't just base things around that. It's like a Starmer protected one, and that's obviously led to his falling. But yeah, as I said, yeah, reform still remains to be the party of paedophiles, so obviously expect more crime related to that. And it'll still be a crime even if they make it legal. So remember that too. Yeah, things not really looking good. Again, what we're discussing with that idiot, it seems like I don't understand what popularity means. It's weird. I literally said Greens are more popular now than before. Thank God. Wonder what else would be happening. Notice the trend is seemingly for the Hackney Mayor. New Green Party wins Hackney Mayor. First time Hackney Mayor hasn't been Labour. That's extremely interesting. English Council, 0 Greens so far, but 10 Labour, 6 Conservative. Both of those down, but 34 going up. 23 hung? What the fuck does that even mean? Hung vote? Hang on, I forgot what that is. What is a hung vote? Going home. Hung Parliament term used in the United Kingdom. Australia, to describe a situation no single political party or pre-existing coalition has an absolute majority of legislators in Parliament offices. What the fuck are you even talking about? No overall control. Okay, I don't know what that means exactly. Yeah. Hackney Mayor, I've seen her before. I think she's appeared in a few videos. Zoe Garbett. Which is good, yeah. If you can't complain. It's definitely quite interesting. It's probably cool. I don't really know much about Hackney, really. Although, I don't know, sometimes I bring agents to this, and it's not usually relevant, but the younger they are, the better. I'm not saying that because I'm a gooner. I'm saying that because it is literally an objective fact that goodness, what? I mean, young people are probably going to be better choices for, you know, a political position. Because they've been through this shit. They know the ins and outs. It's just like, yeah. Look at the wiki there, I couldn't see the age. Does it say actually? Age? No. Not biggest deal, but Zoe is openly queer. Which is interesting. I wonder where that's from though. Source is I want to tackle inequality across London. Oh, okay. There's probably an article saying. It's very interesting though. Very good though. Hackney, where is Hackney as well? London Borough, holy shit. That is actually kind of impressive. Like, let me double check where it is. I'm not good on geography of London. I think I just had a hallucination. I saw something corner of my eye. So is that in the London area? That's for real? Districts. What are we looking at? Ealing. I've seen Greens get a few in Ealing. Can't see it for some reason. See Harringay. Oh god, I don't know. Okay, let's just look at London Borough. Fucking hell. That's the same thing. I don't know. Again, I'm pretty new to this, and so it's difficult to see where this exactly comes from. Yeah. But overall, it's probably good news. Not really anything bad about this so far. I think the more Green and Lib Dem wins, the better. Yeah. I don't know. But as I said, it's probably time to also prepare for the worst with reform. As I said, I'm like putting money into getting the things I absolutely need. But they obviously take away welfare and reform. And also start charging me stupid amounts probably because they don't believe disability exists and they think I can work for my life even though that's not how it works and I can't actually work. They'll look at something stupid like for some reason me being able to talk as if I'm capable, but that's not how it works again. I can't talk in person. A lot of people witness this and many people can reflect the accounts, so yeah. Anyway, I'll see update if there's more, but I'll move on now. Well, part 2, but there may be a part 3 because this is not finished yet, I don't think. But Reform have won. Fuck's sake, like, what? Like, what is going on? It's just nuts. It's also crazy to me that I'm part of this pool of like voters. It's like, it's crazy how little people actually vote. That's what most surprised me in this. Because I would have expected like at least tens of thousands, but no, apparently not. There's a lot of reform gain, I guess it's green gain, so that's just interesting. How many is that? Okay, that's that many. So keep on the screen. Yeah, about half of that. But it's kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. Because there's so many things going wrong in my life at the moment, as it is, and I can only see reform getting a bit worse with that. Because my situation requires very specific interactions and, well, as we know, the requirements, it requires very specific things that only select few places can deal with. So, for example, to get a proper door, I need a door expert. And I can't necessarily afford that on my income. So, that becomes a problem, and it sort of means that I need someone else to provide that for me, so maybe the council. But if reform are going to be the council, then what the fuck am I supposed to do? They don't believe in disability, they don't believe in the issues I have. So, what the fuck? It's literally going to be one of the worst scenarios possible. Like, I genuinely don't understand what happened to you. Yeah, what's crazy is the area I live in, and I have to say this as well, there's pretty much no flags. Nothing. There's no United Kingdom. Other areas, there were. So, what even happens? If I had to guess, I think it might be just a possible rigging. Because I don't see any other way this could be, because nobody here really possesses reform other than like specific types of jobs, which I won't go into. But those are the only people I could think of that would be like that. And yeah, so as I mentioned before, I got the reform letter that was the leaflet rather addressed to me and my housemate. Somehow. I don't even know how they sent that, let alone how they knew who I was. Which is confusing, and I never got one for like Green or Lib Dems or anything. Which again is like equally as confusing. So what the fuck even is happening? It genuinely makes no sense. Like, it's so weird. I don't know how this situation can really impact my situation. It's sort of all on the cards now, I guess, for like a correct term. I just do not know what to do. Even then, like, who is it? Like, some reason it's like, yeah. Different types, so. I'd also think, I'm not going to actually mention that, but I think there's no bad news on that as well. Because actually I need to look at that. Let's see. Because what is the council result? Because that's going to bother me. Because it can mean make or break, obviously. Very fucking graphic. And there's a bunch of graphics on the site. Nice. Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, this is just horrific. Ironically, the area that I saw the flags in is reform. That surprised me. It's also just really disappointing. Yeah, like what the fuck even is going on? There's a lot of places not even accounted for, so we don't even know yet. Because I think it hinges on this, but given the outlook so far, I think there is a possibility that there is like a situation, and yeah, neighbours are not doing well either in a different county. Oh, well, actually, I say not doing well, but it's actually kind of split. So I don't know, it's split at the moment, rather. It could change. Yeah, it's just a major yikes, and it's also just a major loss. Also, how much does it see that? Why is the thing bugged out? I'll refresh that. Because how many places are there left? Yeah, it just says not yet declared, okay. Yeah, still very worrying, but I think in my case I will essentially try to write a sort of letter explaining the problems in the town and the problems in my situation specifically, because it might be worth doing. You never know. I could also make my argument for immigrants as well, because I think one of the problems is a lot of people are misled by a lack of evidence. So, I could share my experience of how, even though I've not had good experience with people who've migrated here, I could tell you for certain that It's not their problem. It's not the problem of immigrants that's causing my problems with them. It's a problem with the payment system, the welfare, the minimum wage. It's literally been proven at this point beyond a deniable doubt. Is that the term? Beyond a doubt? I can't even remember now. I've had so much brain fog today. I had to put the blinkers on. Yeah, I don't know what else to add really, but obviously we're waiting for part 3 of the results, just the overall or the finished one. How long does it take? Okay, how long does the election results take to tally? Well, roughly. Okay. From May 7, that's not helpful. How much? Like, what were the previous ones? I'm gonna guess, like, given how many's been done so far, it's about 10% of the UK, isn't it? 25%? I can't recall, actually. Possibly needs to do, like, Scotland and Wales as well. I don't like Wales, to be honest. I've been there once on holiday, it's not fun. I think it's a nice area. It's just very kind of areas like people can be a bit mixed. I'm not really saying that as a sort of racist gesture. It's not probably the problem with the people. It's usually just it's actually mainly just the police. I think you'll find corrupt police anywhere, but they sort of fined my family for some reason for speeding, even though it was on motorway. Like what? It's so weird. I don't know what the fuck even happened with that. But yeah, I don't really know what else to do. But as I said, disappointing. It's very shameful as well, given this place doesn't really show their colours. It's quite secretive, really. There's no flags I could see. I'm trying to think, even like the closest flag I've seen in this place, and weirdly enough, it's not even in town. Actually, no. I'm wrong, there is one. There's like a place in the more shopping area. I did remember actually seeing one before. I remember thinking like, oh god, this, and yeah. Turns out that assumption was correct. It turns out to be bigots, and I'm never going in that place. So fuck that. You've lost my support, if there were any. I wonder if they'll fly the colours now. Their favourite party is one. I don't know, but yeah, this sucks. Anyway, I better get a move on because I'm cooking food. Speaking of which, I've wasted a lot of time. 4 minutes left, 5 minutes. Linda McCartney vegan roast in the oven at the moment. Never tried it before. It's a chicken roast, so not using chicken. But just interested me. I found it at Sainsbury's, I think. Kind of interesting, yeah. Yeah, great story. 10 out of 10. We'll listen again. Anyway, let's actually move on to the next topic. There's another thing about the local election. This is not part 3, just to make people aware. And it's actually about the message this sends, which is obviously quite a disappointing message, but it's also one that can answer a lot of our problems. And as I said before, it's about sort of pandering to the right, not just a little, but giving them a bit of a luxury to obviously keep going where they're going. Because basically, the biggest hate campaign of this election is to vote against Labour and Starmer, and that was pretty much obvious. And people did take that literally, but they voted for the party who was most out there about it, which happened to be Reform. And that's obviously not good news, because that means obviously the politics of hate won. But the thing is, Reform wasn't even doing anything else. They were just, oh, let's hate Starmer. That's it. There was nothing else. And so we've just been left with this garbage. And it really shows that the message that the Greens were saying, even though it's effective with obviously hope, not hate, it also shows that was its downfall. So very interestingly, it means that it's struggling from, well, not really success, but a lack thereof, because of the issues about it. So the positives of hate seem to be a lot stronger than anything else, and that's probably proof that we need to change our ways. Because even though we shouldn't be despairing about things, I think sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. And I think the biggest, most important message from that is obviously we just need to be more hateful than other parties. So I think using like the reform local election opportunity here and the ways that they'll fuck up, I think it'll be easier to create a message that's effective and grabs everyone's attention in a way that is used to also express hatred. And I think this might be the best way to get around this, honestly, to address this problem as a whole. And I think that is pretty crucial at this point. I actually don't see things happening any other way. And that is, again, it's also sad, but I'm trying to think of what the Greens could do. So I think my idea is actually kind of the best one that I've thought of, and it's basically hope and hate. And obviously that means what it means. Because you can hope, but you can also hate. So, yeah. So basically their campaign should be about providing a balance, and that should be obviously that there is a hope that the world will be fine again. Well, it's never fine, but better. But then there should be the hate, where you hate on the worst politicians, the worst party, whoever it is. And also you do something about the biggest problems that the UK has. So if you were to look at a survey, for example, and you surveyed everyone on the biggest problem in the UK, what do people say? That is the question, and then you have to cater to that. So if it's, for example, the cost of living, then yeah, I think people will want change there. They want to see everything get better. But if they say immigration, which might even be the second thing, it's going to be a bit more complicated. But I think it can be done, and I could be wrong about this. But the same way that that one Green MP actually went on TV saying the immigration problem is something that they care for, which it is, by the way, then they have to keep doing that. They have to do a stronger message. So rather than doing the misinformation like Reform do, it should be literally one up, which is obviously better information. Sorry, can pause. But I do think that is the best option, in my opinion. Again, it's like hope and hate. You're not doing anything that's like morally questionable there. I think that's something a lot of moral people actually believe in, myself included. You can hope and hate for things, but I don't think you can exactly claim to be like what someone who's moral but doing immoral things, like current Reform voters do, where obviously they've taken to the streets and done protests outside asylum hotels, which I think is bullshit. Again, it's a load of bigotry that doesn't make any sense, and it shouldn't have happened. For some reason it did happen. But yeah, it's really disappointing either way to see the results as it is so far. There's so much that can be done, I think. It's just the Greens, I think, need to grow a pear, literally, not a pear fruit, just to be clear. Just grow a pear balls, that's it. Because I think that's the thing that's probably most lacking, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but seeing how they didn't obviously win many things, that might be what it needs. So, yeah, I think there's maybe what it really needs, but I don't know. I think it's important to make sure we prevent Reform from winning again. And I think even with their failures, which we're going to see quite soon, then, there's even more sort of, not proof of the pudding, that's not the right thing, although it's proof, yeah, there's proof of their failures, but there's more fuel for the fire. And I think fighting, obviously, with their own strategy is probably going to be the biggest insult that they could have and be used against them. Because I think that will work in the end. Yeah, we literally do need that. And I think we need it more than ever, to be honest. Don't know why it doesn't get really talked about. But we do need something to happen. It really goes without saying. And something to happen fast. Yeah, I think the hope and hate sort of campaign would probably work really effectively. If done right. Also, it requires a lot of planning and thought. And obviously, you need to not be like lying and stuff. So, of course, when you say immigration is actually a real problem, and we should be, for example, stopping boats that get there, which is not a bad thing to say. Well, let's be honest. A lot of things that stop the boats is based on misinformation. But in evidence, there is a good justification to stop them, and that is to obviously apprehend and investigate, where they can then get asylum. So as you can see, it's literally, the message is right, but the source can be obviously very different. Where Reform gets it seems to be up their arse, or out of their arse rather, but where someone like the Green Party or Lib Dems would get it, would most likely be true information. Things reported by the government, reported by authorities, reported by official means, so asylum seekers or whatever you call them, houses, or I don't know what you call them actually. Those are good. But that's where you get the information, you source it, you put it in the policy as well. And so it becomes I don't know if that's the correct term, but de facto, I guess. There's de facto an ultimate response to immigration. Because again, you just use the same message, but it does mean a different thing and the correct thing. This is what I mean by hope and hate, because again, it's like people hate the boats, they want them to stop wherever they are. But again, you wrote it in a way that it supports your own side. And then I'm trying to think of what else it was, even with Reform, because to be honest, like, that was the biggest thing. I think nationality as well, like you could say, like we don't actually like how much foreign people have maybe taken over here. So we want to make sure that Brits are put first, which, to be fair, was a campaign, but it's not really with that first bit. But I think, again, mixing that in is pretty important. It's not about exclusion, it's about inclusion with the Brits put first. So that means addressing things like homelessness, the cost of living, everything else, literally. So yeah, I don't know if like any Green MPs would ever listen to this, but I think it is important. And it is interesting as well, because this sort of thing is a very niche topic, and it does require a level of accuracy and well, I don't know what you call it actually. Just accuracy. It just needs to be successful, and I don't know if that's difficult or not, but to me it doesn't seem that difficult to do. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add there. I've pretty much gotten it. Oh, pretty much gotten it down. There was any other way to say it. But yeah, again, I can only hope the best for Green Party and Lib Dems and the next election, obviously the local elections and the general election especially. But I'm hoping with the Reform stuff we'll see an influx of, we hate Reform now, we trusted you, like Jesus Christ. And the only thing that's unfortunate about this is also you need to do a campaign about encouraging people to vote, because I think one of the best things you could do, even neutrally, because it doesn't even have to be about your own party, it's about telling people why they should vote, how they should vote. And I think that's one of the best things you could do as well, because I reckon that's probably what's led to the Reform wins here. So obviously get people encouraged to do it. So, say like, you may be a gamer, for example, like, how does politics impact games exactly? Believe it or not, there are several ways. I think I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure not being in the EU increases the prices of hardware and stuff, because I'm pretty sure it can be shipped across EU or is shipped across from like China. I could be wrong about that, but don't take my word for it. But we're looking at something like that, where the obviously like the market value might increase because of the amount of transport involved. So we want more, see, better rules on getting imports and that sort of thing, including game distribution as well. So we're not doing stupid things like allowing Visa or PayPal to take away like porn games, for example. Like, honestly, I think taking them away is extremely stupid. It always has been. But we need to sort of address that in terms of how we address gamers, how we get them to vote. It's like, did you know that the government controls X amount of gaming, for example, and also something to do with Trump? Like, you could also mention that. Because Trump is in bed with pretty much all three manufacturers I've heard for gaming hardware: Intel, AMD, and Nvidia, which really fucking sucks. It's also a major yikes, let's be honest. But I think if we get obviously an establishment here where we stop them from pushing out AI stuff, we stop them from pushing up the price of hardware, and obviously a thing with like the wealth tax as well, that's also important. I think encouraging people to vote that way. So like you actually state the facts rather than say vote our party, or say that our policy has this. So instead it gets them thinking. They see, oh, games affected by government. Better care about government then. And that should hopefully encourage people. In the same way with food prices, like, oh, I don't know, it could be like McDonald's, I hate McDonald's. It could also be a supermarket, like supermarket prices go up. Why is that? Government and lack of wealth tax. And yeah, like literally that is probably what it is, but it's also, there's no like price fixing, for example, which I think it's a more niche issue. It's a bit harder to address, but with some things it is possible, I believe. Like rent controls, for example, bills as well. Like, let's not forget bills you have to pay. So yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm gonna call this obviously hope and hate. I think that's important. So anyway, I better move on. Just spoken way too long. The food's probably getting cold outside because I left it out to cool down. Because I hate the things it puts on the fucking lid on my top. I wonder if the government could do anything about that. I suppose I haven't really talked about it yet. The Hantavirus. My god. What time to be alive, eh? All this shit going on and then the Hantavirus. Yeah, that's just a cherry on top, I suppose. But what's so annoying about this is there are similarities to COVID, but it's not the same thing. I think the worst thing about it by far is, depending on the strain that it is, I think it can be a bit more severe than everything else we've known so far. And given that there's like an incubation period of 6 to 8 weeks, which is pretty nuts, and I think like COVID had much less time. It's really bad. But I've also sort of warned about this, being that, back when COVID happened, we already had these issues, like in COVID, we knew that it was a zoonotic virus. It's been defined as that, and it is. And the thing is, nobody changed their behaviour to address it. So, when you got shit living conditions, and obviously this bullshit with, well, animal agriculture just causing many issues, that's going to perpetuate these things, and literally it's going to fuck us over, and it was predicted that it would fuck us over. And so it's very interesting now that we're seeing another one and in its full glory. I mean, it is not from the consumption of animals necessarily, but it is something to do with animals themselves, obviously rats. The thing is, the fatality rate for this is weird. Like, what the fuck? Wikipedia says, which one is this? Fatality. Okay, it's not really labelled that well. It says HPS. There's a 30 to 60% fatality rate. Illness is the result of increased vascular permeability, decreased palliative amount. Is this doing the right thing? It's all through Hantavirus, I don't know. But yeah, it's really frustrating to see. Because this is like potentially one of the biggest fucking things of possibly like the century, like you never know. It's just, again, it's horrific, and I don't think we can even survive it, both economy-wise and mortality-wise. It just doesn't seem to be something that we can actually sustain at the moment, especially with war going on. Where war as well. Like, how many fucking soldiers are going to get that? Like, it's ridiculous, and then unfortunately that can lead to like a difference in, well, tactics. So they target the ones that are well, so the other ones just suffer and die off, which is just fucking horrific. So I don't even know necessarily what the solution is here with this sort of thing. And again, like, the lack of certainty around it is also concerning, because the moment we see the first case in public, I think is when we're going to start seeing lockdowns again. And it's going to be problematic as well, because there's so many fucking illnesses out there. Again, there's all zoonotic viruses, believe it or not, we consume them a lot. That's because of animal agriculture, again. But we consume a lot of them, and we get similar symptoms. Like, literally, a few days ago, I had fatigue. A few weeks ago also, I had a lot of these other issues that are listed there, and also I have, like, breathing issues now, which have also randomly come back. So, do I have it? I don't know. But people then seem to think that if it's going to be okay because there's some miracle fucking vaccine, which knows that they've been worked on anyway, because Hantavirus has been around for a while, then how do we even know the vaccine is going to work if there is one? Also, how do we know it's going to be effective? Because obviously the people with it are going to be probably struggling the most, and there's not necessarily like an antidote for it, obviously. It's not even going to necessarily reduce it, but if people get the vaccine and then obviously get the virus, then who knows? It's pretty bad. Yeah, I wonder also like what stats are, because if this has actually got an incubation period, how many fucking people have got it? Like, we don't even know who patient 0 is. It's a bit strange, really. Like, MSN keeps reporting this for some reason, nobody else really. Saying like 5 states monitoring passengers who departed ships stricken by hantavirus. 2 NJ, New Jersey, I think is potentially exposed to hantavirus. Shows where hantavirus is spread, actually, it's a bit more useful. What does it? Is there a map? What map? They're not even fucking showing one. What the hell? What the fuck is this shit? What the comments say? Okay for the map and left for disappointment. Yep. Fucking, that is ridiculous. Dumb, isn't it? US plans evacuation for America's on cruise ship in Hantavirus outbreak. The numbers tell us about Hantavirus. Also, don't like Goku's mislabeling it. It's not CNN, it's fucking MSN. How many people potentially exposed? So according to the World Health Organization, 147 people, 88 passengers, and 59 crew members. Those on board, 2 nationalities, including 17 Americans. 40 are completing additional tracing of 82 and 6 crew members, 82 passengers, 6 crew members from April 25. Well, scale them so the authorities also reached out and disclosed number of passengers, second flight, Dutch woman. After flight 11, so the Dutch woman died from it, I think. So, yeah, she died. British health authorities have said 2 UK nationals have found hantavirus cases. And this is additional suspected case of a British national who disembarked the ship on the island of Tristan da Cunha. So we're just carrying out contact tracing. The US Department, direct contact with passengers. Government's also tracking at least 30 passengers who disembarked from remote South Atlantic Island. So far, 5 confirmed cases, and others considered suspected cases according to World Health. What do we know about the people who died? 3 people who died in connection with the illness. April 6th, 70-year-old Dutchman. April 24th, 69-year-old wife. 3rd person died, German woman. She died by April 28th. Died May 2nd. There's no age, which is weird. The cause of death is not officially established, but okay. So yeah, it seems to be mainly an older population, maybe with more ailments that unfortunately passed from this. Yeah, it's really concerning, obviously. And then I saw like a brief clip of a video, like the passengers on there saying that they don't want to be on here, but the problem is you guys said they come back to land without the proper equipment, so you risk spreading the fucking virus without getting the proper equipment. So there's also a question like where will the passengers go once they are allowed to leave. 14 Spanish passengers on board transported to a military hospital after being examined. Other remaining passengers will be repatriated according to Spain's health minister. I'm gonna go see it. Where the virus came from. Still investigating the origins of the case cluster. The World Health Organization believes that at least a large couple and possibly others were infected before they joined the cruise. Possibly while doing some activities in Argentina, where hantavirus is endemic. Wait, what does it mean? What is endemic? I mean, like stomped or what? It's got shit names for some of these things. Endemic, prevalent or limited in particular locality, region or people. So I guess where, yeah, that's obviously where it is. Okay, but if it's endemic, why the fuck hasn't it spread before? Not sure. What strain is the virus? The World Health Confirmation confirms the strain is called Andy's hantavirus. Okay. That's news, because they're the only type of hantavirus known to have some limited human-to-human transmission. Oh. Okay. Are we sure about that then? That certainly doesn't sound right then. Because if it is human-to-human, then how the fuck did that even start? Because obviously the thing with COVID was it was called coronavirus, it was like bat to human, and obviously human to human. So obviously we wouldn't have known because we'd never encountered this bat before, whoever the bat was. So it's the same thing here really, but we don't even know what that necessarily means. So passengers have to remain vigilant for 45 days. How deadly is it? It's a very extremely deadly virus. The hantavirus found in the Americas can cause hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. About 38% of people develop respiratory symptoms, may die. There's no vaccine that prevents hantavirus and no specific treatment for it. World Health Organization care and immediate referral. With a complete ICU can improve survival according to the World Health Organization. World Health Organization classified hantavirus general as an emerging priority because of how serious the infection can be. How contagious is it? Human transmission due to Antivirus is rare, but has been reported in community settings following close and prolonged contacts, like among married couples and people who share cabins. According to the World Health Organization, this is not a virus that spreads like the flu or like COVID. It's quite different. Fuck what I've said. Dr. Costello, microbiologist, medicine, estimated there's been about 30,000 cases of the Andy strain of virus in history. Okay. There's not even a new thing, which is interesting. It's boring. This is because the window for transmission of the Andy strain is short, maybe about a day, but it can spread easily after someone is brief proximity to the person who is sick. Peak infectiousness is believed to be on the day the fever begins. According to Eilish, a study of the 2018-2019 outbreak in Argentina, the antivirus reproductive number was an estimated average of 2.12, meaning each person infected passed the virus to about 2.12 other people. For thereby public health interventions, the overall outbreak average was 1.19 after interventions like isolation and quarantine. It was 0.96. It's unclear what the reproductive number of the cruise ship cluster might be. Yeah, I guess like the close proximity thing plays a role there. So it's not possible, it's not like you're going to walk past someone who's talking and probably getting it. So obviously like COVID was more like a distance thing, but here is more like a contact thing from what I can tell. It does make it a bit more sort of interesting. Luckily I don't really use my hands, but the problem is I guess is with where it touches parts of your skin, so like a wound for example. If you touch a door handle with like an open wound on your hand, I've got to be careful with that because I keep getting cracks in my ring finger. I don't know how. I'll see it. The Hantavirus was reported in the US in 1993 to 2023. So apparently an estimated 60,000 to 100,000 cases worldwide each year, with China accounting for half the cases according to 2024 study. Damn. Yeah, it's all pretty worrying, I think. I think it's important to have the information out there about what to do. Why are people disagreeing with this guy? If Trump handles this like he did COVID-19, watch out. But yeah, was Trump even in 2020? I thought it was Biden. This is like later on, like, or maybe because the case happened later, the election. I don't know. Yeah, it's fucking shit, really. So at the moment, really nothing to be concerned about, but it does mean we have to be like extra cautious at this time because it is actually deadly. Because COVID is like, it gets vulnerable people, but it seems to fuck up everyone. I wonder if you could get some like home apparatus or something for some of these issues. Like, I don't know if it's like something for that. There has to be something there. Like, I don't know, like you get those like oxygen machines. I think is what it is. But we do need something there. That yeah, I don't really know what to say. So apparently Hantavirus, according to CBS, is that poses a risk to the public. Just going to a doctor. Not that that's really going to mean anything with everything being there. Okay, identifies new case. Okay, it's pretty much all there is there. But yeah, again, we can't really afford shit like this. It's fucking absurd. I genuinely do not understand how stuff like this has been allowed to happen. Yeah, there should have been intervention even just 5 years ago to say stop zoonotic viruses. Well, although this one maybe less to do with food, but still, it shows that we're not even safe with this. Like, it could literally just happen from apparently a bird watching thing, which is where they apparently got it. It's probably from food, because that's apparently where it's supposed to come from. But, yeah. It's also like the virus that makes you unable to eat meat. Again, this is like the danger. Like, you ask for this, you pay for it, so why are you complaining? I genuinely do not understand that. It's like you buy all these animal products and you keep places in shitty conditions for one reason or another, and then you wonder, like, oh, what's happening? In fact, I was all sort of a bit fearful for my fucking house because, I hate to say it, but someone doesn't keep their place very clean and tidy. It just leaves food out to rot and keeps it in his room. Just fucking gross. It's genuinely disgusting. Yeah, I don't think rats will probably get in, but still, it's just kind of a warning sign, really. So yeah, I don't really know what I stand, to be honest, but that's another discussion, I suppose. Just felt like mentioning it, it's just so people are aware, obviously I've looked into it, so there's possible solutions and resolutions, I guess. Again, just urge on the side of caution. That's probably the best option, and we're probably going to return back to Zoom meetings. And also, there's probably going to be other like guidelines. Let's not forget. The thing with COVID, the main thing was masks and social distancing, and then obviously with something like what was I saying? It's like Hantavirus. It's more like the surfaces and covering like wounds and obviously wearing things that's like properly covering yourself, like probably disposable gloves for a start. Probably need some of those. I think what else it could be. And also using antibacterial stuff, I suppose. An option that wiping surfaces clean, making sure your food's clean, that's another thing. Because obviously this has come from rats, and yeah, it's a big warning sign that you should just care about that. Given how many cases there are, should be. Yeah. I don't have anything else to add, so I'll move on. Surprised I didn't talk about this, but Final Fantasy XIV maintenance. That's a good pacebreaker anyway. It went down on. Oh, what day was it? I think it was the 6th of May. Maybe this next day. Fuck doing the meme. No, I'm not doing that anymore. That's not the time. But yeah, basically the patch was to patch out the third boss in the next raid tier, the third walk. Because it had a really cool arena where you're floating above the sky, but rather the earth, and or ails it. I can't remember actually, what is it? I don't know, I never played 11, so I don't know. But it's really cool and it's see-through. But I noticed an issue with it anyway from the start, which was that it's kind of an overwhelming experience. I forgot to mention it in my initial review. Upon reflecting on it, I was kind of overwhelmed by it, because it's like, those cool mechanics here. Wait, that's too shiny, that's too bright. So I'm kind of glad they patched it out to make it blocked off, but at the same time it's kind of like, I wish I was a toggle. Because I think it's cool for some, but not so cool for others, and I think the reason they patched it was motion sickness, and then people are now resorting to fucking ableist remarks because they patched it out. Of what? It doesn't even make any difference, by the way. Whether it's see-through or not, it's the same fucking thing underneath it. I don't know actually for certain if that is what's happened, but my god, like, how fucking immature are people with this? I do not understand it. It's ridiculous. Like, I do not understand the logic there. I'll try to find it, as long as I haven't got anything, so... I'm less downvoted on Reddit than I usually am, because I'm gonna... Or maybe... Where is it? Kind of. I didn't. Oh, I didn't comment on it, did I? Okay, maybe the forums then. FFXIV forums. Forums, apparently. Because it's maybe there. General discussion, maybe? No. What's this? Action text? That's in game. What the fuck is all this? Okay, that's not what I want, I don't think. Instance, maybe? No. Where is the player discussions? Fuck, that's just information. Okay, that's. I really do not know what I'm looking at here. What? General discussion, but why is this? This isn't general, is it? There's a thread starter, what the fuck? Just spamming of actions taken. How it's even. I don't. Huh? Okay, I'm not sure what the fuck this is. I just guess I'll look at the side things, see if there's actually a human post. Okay, master strategies, all quests, dungeons. It might be under braid, would it? It says braid, no? Okay, I'm just gonna look up FFXIV third walk patch. Let's see. It'll probably go up. Why do MSN do articles on .trail? It's actually a fucking AI slot machine at this point. Windwurst, no. Why isn't. I don't even know what's going on here. I can't find it. Maybe it's just like for upvotes or something. Yeah, like my thoughts on it, obviously, it's just fine. I don't think it's really big of a deal as people are saying it is. I think it's really stupid that people just don't like it. It's extremely silly, in all honesty. It just feels like it shouldn't be a thing, really. Because it is justified. Like, that's the thing about this. It happened for a reason. It's got patched out for a reason. And that's essentially why. Can't find the post now. History, I guess, because I did click on it. That's probably a bit better. Or not. Why? Oh, yeah, here it is. It's a post called Why. Awful label. Yeah, what does the comments say? Because I'm curious, like, how bad are they? The controversial. Oh, is it time for overreacting over extremely minor things already? One change to Bottom Arena for accessibility purposes is absolutely not a big deal. True. This is not a bad thing, and there's a lot of deleted comments, so comment has been removed, deleted by user. People want new stuff, create arenas mechanic, and then shut down the first conventional thing, goddamn. Guess nobody cares about source material. What the fuck? It's just really delusional. It's ignorant as well. It's a bit of both there. They don't have to follow the fucking source material. In fact, I don't even know a time where they probably have this game, without knowing the law. But like, why would they? Because it would just be a complete duplicate. If it was just complete foreign source rather. Yeah, just very weird. Comments get less controversial. Someone with motion sickness and vertigo. They're saying that they don't mind. They like the arena. It's weird. People really seem to have an issue with any level of diversity of the game outside of Savage and all, huh? Wow. Fucking what? What are you on about? Like, this isn't even why they did it. It's not even a difficult fight. Jesus Christ. That is fucking ridiculous. Back in 12, I can understand it the first time around. I had to pretty much look up or zoom close on my character. I can't see anything that's fair. And actually, believe it or not, there is a type of blindness out there, it's pretty much a spectrum anyway, where you end up losing your precise vision, so it ends up being like a blur everywhere. It's almost like when you sort of slightly close your eyes or open them, you just see like a jumbled mess. Like I think eyelashes like barely allow you to see anything. But it's almost like that, but a bit worse probably. Or it's just like getting something in your eye, like a dust particle. I've had that too many times. Yeah, people say it's lame. Other people say it's accessibility fix, which is good. There's a comment with 69 outposts was removed by the moderator. Deleted the account, I guess. Yeah. I guess Reddit's hunting people again. Oh, that's actually... No, that's not what it is. I've seen this thing on Reddit recently. It's on Deeper Galactic subreddit, where they're getting AI moderators to monitor the comment sections, and there's like a completely harmless, in-context comment made on the Deeper Galactic subreddit, I think, and then it was removed by a Reddit admin. What the fuck? What are we even going towards here? It genuinely just doesn't make any sense. This is why human jobs exist, it's so they can have the precision and know-how of how to do these things. A fucking bot is not going to do much. Even then, I think the types of admins you want doing this sort of job is to do with entirely that specific area. So, for gaming, have an admin that specialises in gaming. For politics, again, one that specialises in gaming, not just gaming, politics. But that's pretty much what you need. And yeah, that's ignored for some reason. Like, what the fuck? It just makes no sense all the time. Just such a load of bullshit, really. But yeah, I don't mind the change, really. Again, I was overwhelmed by it in some ways without realising. So, it's a good thing. I guess a toggle would be the best option, but I'm not sure how viable it is. It's kind of like maybe if it's related to a graphic setting or something, or just motion blur. Motion sickness rather, not motion blur. But I do have to sort of question in a way, if like motion sickness was the issue, then why isn't there more of that in the game to address that? I'm pretty sure if you have movement, I've known people with like motion sickness, it happens because of movement, and whilst this arena isn't strictly movement, I think there are plenty of moments in the game where it is movement, and that kind of fucks things up. So yeah, like people do get real motion sickness. Some people can't even play first person shooters because of that. Yeah, again, overall not a bad change. I just think some people need to put on the big boy pants rather than the diapers. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Well, credit due where it's due. Billie Eilish apparently shared some footage on her Instagram, I believe, and it was about, obviously, a response to the bullshit around her saying that something that's inherently wrong is people consuming animal products, and now she's obviously posted the Instagram story, and people are actually responding to it quite positively, I think. I've seen a few people on r/vegan now saying about this. Literally 3 stories at the top talking about this already. I think it's fascinating, because people literally have just turned instantly. And the thing is, I'll have to make the argument, because no doubt people will say it on that story, but they'll say, oh, it's just a select case. You enable it. You know, it's like a similar sort of behaviour to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a great comparison for this. Maybe like lynching and lynch mobs, but it's a similar fucking behaviour. Because from what I understand of those, they tend to happen obviously for a reason. There seems to be like some sense of justice, and people will go into a crowd hoping to see either violence or something more from that, maybe punishment. But people will just latch onto it and essentially just it'll grow. Sort of what's going on there? Hang on, my mind's blanked for some reason. Yeah, that's just going to happen. Sleep deprivation, stress. But basically, yeah, people need to get used to the idea that beliefs are going to be challenged no matter what they are. I've even had mine challenged quite a few times in terms of where I sort of stand, not politically, but truthfully. As in, I look for the truth and everything. And yeah, I've been challenged, but ultimately, no changes because I can't see a way through it. It's just hasn't been proven. And it's interesting, but yeah, the fact the story's here, I'm not going to watch it yet. I might watch it tomorrow if I remember, if I have the time as well. That's another thing. But I do think there needs to be some sort of discussion around. I'll see what we're seeing here. And again, the point with exploitation, enabling it. It's also like greedy behaviours. It's like when you go to McDonald's, one of the other knock-on effects of that, or people going other than the food being cheap, is that them knowing it's cheap and sharing that, it just enables people to go there. So it doesn't help at all. It's like almost a trying to think, not a hive mind, herd mentality. I think that's it. But that's probably not the correct thing though. Still, but I think you get my point. It's basically to do with a group latching onto another thing of trend chasing sort of thing. But, it takes a while to even debunk those claims, to explain the issues around it, and it's finally good that someone is doing that. It's finally explaining the problems and showing proof of this. But no matter what, there's still a risk, even if you support the nicest places, supposedly for animals, even though they're not technically nice. Because there's still like practices that they use, like the breeding of animals, the selective breeding, the forcible impregnation, which is technically rape or bestiality, if anyone familiar with that. And then there's the way that they obviously have standards to uphold and efficiency. So males are disposable, and that's in writing. That's literally how the industry does it. And obviously, for like females, if they produce something that's a product, then they'll produce that for the rest of their life. And yeah, it's literally how they live and die, which is fucking horrific. It's almost as bad as wild animal suffering. At least in wild animal situations, they get to roam around free. So people saying, oh, it's good for them to be in this situation. No, it's fucking not. Even if they died as a calf in the wild, it would have been a far better life than this. I can almost guarantee you that. And that's really saying so. But I also have to mention the fact, again, as I mention this almost every time, I've seen people killed in much nicer ways, even with the most suffering involved, than animals. And that really demonstrates something. People I've seen killed, obviously it's from gore sites and stuff, when I used to look into that. I think one of the worst ones I saw was probably someone being, I'm not sure if it's organ harvested, it's more like tortured by being cut open essentially. And that was on, a gore site. It's fucking horrific. It's pretty much, there are so many more merciful things I've seen in those places, again, of all the evil things I've seen, compared to animals who go through much fucking worse. Like, Jesus Christ, it really says a lot. Yeah, I don't really know what else to add, but other than that is just good to see someone speaking up about this and actually posting a story about it. I think it's important. I think especially in this day and age, we're dangerously heading towards a trend of greed not only being something that people are just like gung-ho about, I don't really know how to say it. Just latch onto it. we need to be challenging those ideas, obviously, and challenging also just the things that underlie these beliefs. So people in absolute denial about this story, essentially they're being dangerous. They're essentially fucking humanity. And they'll have to live with that, all the way to their grave. And realise that towards the end they actually did fuck up. That's not a good thing to have. That's all. I wouldn't want that. Yeah, I don't even know what else to add, to be honest. Just a lot of things, and over the years I've tried to refute the vegan arguments, and it's just not possible. There isn't anything so far. Even with the simple goalpost of debunking sentience in animals, it just still doesn't work. And even then, you still need to debunk environmentalism, you still need to debunk health. There are many different ways that this sort of occurs, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what else to add, but that's basically the gist of it. It's horrific. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic. So I've got a part 3, but it's not the final result. I have a feeling it's just going to be a few weeks, so I don't know how long this actually takes. Does it actually say how many there are left? No. Basically, the results are also coming in again. I'll just double check. I think the BBC is inflating theirs. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. They also haven't updated it, which is weird because we already know, the areas I'm aware of where there are people being elected and stuff. But it's kind of interesting that the numbers here anyway, what we're seeing, some pretty crazy numbers. Yeah, where are the actual results though? Because Pollcheck doesn't have the correct results. BBC's seem inflated. What about the Guardian? Guardian's also a bit inflated, but also not up to date, I don't think. There's multiple things here. The collected mayors and stuff. Could go through that, I suppose. So, let's just have a look. Yeah, they've got even Scotland one. The Scotland one I find interesting, I'll explain. So yeah, Labour is down like 1,051 seats. Conservative down 427, which is interesting. Is this the right one? Yeah, it is. I can't believe it. I saw that. What the fuck? Lib Dem 142. Then we got Tories in the closet 1,276. Extra seats, so now I have 1,358, which is concerning. And then, contrary to what the idiot said yesterday about Green winning those seats, or was it the day before? I think it's the day before. 306 councillors, and now they're at a total of 477, which is kind of insane. That is pretty nuts, and they are growing quite well in the chart here. They're almost half the size of Reform at the moment, which is still a good thing. You have to admit, even though it's not the most preferable result, it's still good. And then there's other, which I don't know what these are, but minus 242 seats, make a total of 229. And there's council control change, which has changed a bit. Labour minus 32 change, Conservative minus 8, Lib Dems plus 3, Reform plus 13, Greens plus 4. And other plus 20. Yeah, kind of interesting there. So obviously some good things there, but also some bad. But the problem is, it's just Reform so far in the lead, and this is essentially what's going to divide the country, and potentially even cause wars and force us into war, even though we don't want anything to do with it. And because people are idiots, we don't have any fucking choice in it. But I'll just have to say it for how it is. People need to understand that. Then we've got full council results, is that right? hold it down. Oh wait, it's got all results, so okay. I wonder how many there are. There's a bit too many. Don't need to see that. But you're seeing like a lot of green in this now, which is not something I don't think you saw before. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't think you saw green too much before this, and oftentimes it's like green was a joke. So nobody really cared that much, exactly. Elected mayors, there's only 6 here, is that right? Got 2 green mayors now, which is good. 1 Lib Dem, 1 still Labour, which is, I'm not sure if it's still Labour. 1 from the Aspire Party, what the fuck is that? I've never heard of this party, but sure. And then 1 Conservative. Somehow there's no reform, which is interesting. Conservatives hold 1, which is bad, but yeah. I'm surprised by the Lib Dem one actually. 52% of the votes, and also the Green one, the Zoe Garbett one, is 47% votes. It's pretty insane. And then there's Wales, which I'm kind of interested in. For what I can see with this, Green's only got 2 seats, Conservatives got 7, Lib Dems 1, Reform 34. And played Semaru, I can't say that, 43. I think played Semaru okay, I don't know. I saw Dr. Simon Clark's video on climate policies, and they had some decent climate policies there. So it's just, yeah, I think it's whatever, to be honest. But it's also a shame the Reform are quite prevalent there. I would have thought Wales, of all places, would actually have Reform in the lead at this point, or even Conservatives as well. But luckily, no. But it's still split, which is also worrying. It says 49 for majority, so I don't know what that means. It's like, I can't do anything about that. Figure out Hantavirus. Parliament results. This is for Scotland, so yeah, this I found interesting as well. Lib Dems 10 seats, Conservatives 12, Greens 15, Reform 17, Labour 17, SNP 58. So I think it's interesting with the SNP result, because I've never heard of this party before, obviously because it's Scotland, but apparently they're trying to separate from the UK, which is it's certainly interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure how good they are, so. Because I saw someone on Blue Sky making a scaremongering post about how this is a divide that Putin wants, forgetting the fact that we're already separate from the EU, we're already separate from other countries. Like, what the fuck are you on about? It just makes no sense, and even then, it's also the likelihood that if we don't get a Reform MP, and this is if, they're gonna respond to this, obviously, if there's like an attack on either Scotland or Wales or even Ireland at this point. I don't know if Ireland have an election. Never really thought about that. You know, if they're ever attacked from those sides, then, you know, obviously that's a way for them to gain land and gain some sort of priority. It's not very viable, to be honest, because you need to obviously transport them there somehow. But it's still a worrying case anyway. But I think that's why you need, obviously you need to be friends with your ally nations there, or other neighbouring nations. I think that's extremely important. But Scotland, yeah, I guess congrats. I did take a brief look at the SNP manifesto. They had an easy read version, which is good. Don't know why more places don't do that. But it's certainly interesting. They seem to do a lot of things that the Greens are doing. I think the only things they neglect to mention are probably the immigration policies and what else is there? Other things, climate I didn't see much of. So that was also kind of a bit disappointing. I'm pretty sure also Dr. Simon Clark said that the climate policy there was good. I didn't see it though. I'm not sure where he found it exactly. Maybe the full manifesto. I could be wrong. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Interestingly, the biggest news story here, the more on the story rather. John Swinney urges Starmer to show Scotland greater respect after SNP victory. True. I think you should. Labour loses control of Birmingham City Council after 14 years of leadership. No surprise. Get Starmer under pressure to agree exit plan after election morning. God, I hope it's not a local election soon. I think the thing with whatever her name is, Bannock. I think with her saying that shit about there needing to be a local election now, it's extremely dangerous because she thinks that Conservatives or something are going to win. But actually, it's reform, and we don't want that, and we can't handle that at the moment. So if there is like an election, we need obviously either another Labour person to get into power or someone on the left. But also the Labour person needs to be uncorruptible, so obviously whoever it is, we just need someone who's not Keir Starmer, who doesn't take billionaire donations, who doesn't get into bed with Trump and Israel. Like, literally, we need someone who can actually say no to these things. And also, like, strip the country of the US military grounds as well. There's so many things that need to happen here. But even if that creates a divide, like, again, the idiot with scaremongering, it doesn't matter. Like, if we're divided, who fucking cares? We have to keep our allies close, either way, the neighbouring countries. And we have to support them if they do ever get involved in this. Because we don't want them coming here. That just goes without saying. It's basic logic. Again, knowing Keir Starmer, it's like, no, it's probably not going to happen with him. Any sort of response probably won't even be considered. I'm trying to think, is there any other news here? Fuck's sake. I don't know where this cough has come from. I just woke up with it suddenly today. Moscow, Kiev and Trump confirmed 3-day ceasefire for me. Yeah, that was weird. It's very strange, actually, that is. Because, yeah, I guess it needs to happen, but at the same time, it's like the idiots in Russia don't respect the ceasefire, so it's just so fucking weird. And there's another thing here. Britain's prepping for major disruption with stash of tins and cash survey. Millions of Britons are preparing for a potential major disruptive event by keeping a stash of cash at home, stockpiling tinned goods, and ensuring they have battery-powered torches close to hand. News data suggests war raging with the Middle East and Ukraine, extreme weather becoming more frequent, and the warnings of the UK's critical infrastructure is at risk of cyber attacks, power outages, and many people feel the world just becomes a more dangerous place and a chaotic place. True. It's kind of why I want to get this switch to as soon as possible. Speaking of which, I do need to sort of ask about that. I need to potentially get like an allowance because at the moment I'm really fucking struggling with money. And with no certainty about where things are going. I do sort of need to prepare as much as I can. There's not really too much proof, but still a concern. As I've said, I've been preparing since about last year. I've got different things. Pen and paper art, got my guitars, got gaming consoles. I'm trying to think what else there is. Yeah, like, this is the thing, this is what reform are probably going to get us into. But also, with the US lying about what Iran is doing and stuff, it's also concerning because there is a case where Iran is actually winning and they could target anyone else now. Because they're already targeting the US and seemingly succeeding. But there is what's the issue here? Like, where the UK is supporting it, it's like, great. Thanks, Starmer. You fucking moron. It's just really fucking bad. And he keeps trying to defend himself, that's the thing. He makes it worse for himself, even though everyone in their right mind knows that he's not suitable for the job. Well, it's just time to admit defeat. It's literally so fucking stupid. I just cannot comprehend what goes through your mind to think that you're suitable for the job. Unless you're like duplicated with Donald Trump, which it seems like it probably is at this point. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Genuinely, it's fucking baffling. I cannot understand the logic here. There's no logic to be had for the matter. So it just leaves me worried, obviously, for the future. So yeah, like, I don't know, I could just start making a list of like essentials at this point. Just to get through life. Never fucking know, as I said, with someone I was talking to recently. Because obviously we lost to one of the fascist parties. There we are. Mad about it. But we don't know how it's going to affect the situation here. Because from what everyone understands about the party, because it is literally everyone, I think even reform voters know this, they fucked up multiple councils in the last few years where they have succeeded. And it's just not good news, and so we're going to be left to pick up the pieces in a desperate situation, it seems. So I'm not sure what exactly is going to happen there. Yeah, but I think making a list of essentials is probably going to be a good shout for me. So I need to get like a few games for Switch 2 if I do get that. I might need a secondary sort of power bank. I've thought about getting one of those bigger ones. I'm not exactly sure how to charge it though, that's the thing. So I don't exactly get much sunlight where I am. I guess mains, but I don't know. Also not sure how safe those are, like the big ones, like a Jackery or whatever. So it's sort of hard to say. But yeah, that's politics part 3 for the UK. Not got much else to say, so let's move on. This is another thing I wanted to discuss, and it's probably going to be very controversial, but hear me out. Seriously, hear me out. Can you hear me? Okay, just checking. I think that there is a good argument to be made with the fact that obviously the two-party system in, obviously not just the UK, because there is a two-party system kind of, but in the US is a massive issue. And this is really demonstrated when you see Democrats being highly corrupt. And it just really shows, like, it's fucking sickening. They're not even trying to hide it. They literally vote on things even last second, saying like, no, we don't want to stop a war that's obviously unjustified. But it's so fucking evil, and this is what I mean with sort of replacing the system and also just getting rid of government. Because government is not trustworthy at this point. They're not doing their jobs. They're not dishing out justice, and even though I can disagree with people on certain topics, I still have to say that people are probably more trustworthy than them. Maybe I'm putting too much trust into them, but either way, it's fucking absurd. Like, what are we even doing here, exactly? I'm trying to figure it out. Because it feels like they're just shooting themselves in the foot over in the, what's it called, Democrats. And that's obviously not benefiting anyone, it's not doing anything to help. Instead it's just fucking us over. So, it really does just suck. I don't know what to say. But I guess the solution is a third party. So obviously, you got to do that, and I'm pretty sure there are independent parties in the US. But the problem is the swing is between like 2 votes, or 2 party votes, as far as I'm aware. And that shouldn't be allowed. It should be more than one party. Because there's obviously going to be a failure when only 2 parties are allowed to be voted. And that's not going to help anyone. It's going to be a great detriment to people's mental health as well, because if you see a party that's like really, really good, like the Green Party, and I think they do have Greens in the US, you know, people want to vote for them for one reason or another, and who are you to say that they can't vote for them? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, they should be able to vote for the Green Party there. And even then, it has to also be mentioned that with how untrustworthy both sides are now. Also read something recently, I think, was it that Biden initiated a part of the Israel genocide on Gaza? I think I saw that right, I'm not sure. You know, that's what I mean. I didn't hear much about Biden anyway when he was in power, because it's kind of like a relief, like, oh, we're not going to have anything too bad going on here. And, you know, for a while it felt like, you know, nobody has to worry about the US at the moment. Also with the riots on like 2021, so they tried to overthrow Biden because Trump called it rigged. Obviously that didn't work, so it just demonstrates a complete incompetence with Trump. And I really do think that something needs to change here in this party system, because we need to stop shit from this happening, to stop shit like this from happening. It just really goes without saying. I think there's just genuinely a big danger with the way the system currently works, in that people can just vote dangerously, and something like having corrupt politicians in power is just ridiculous. I see the corrupt politicians and I think I want every single fucking one of them, Democrats, Republicans, thrown into prison, because it is just corruption. Nobody should be getting external handouts from other sources. I don't even know any Democratic politician that's had that. I could be wrong. I think even then, probably the closest, as I mentioned, is probably like Israel. But who else even does that? Even then, it's like more like a trade thing. So it's not like they're getting handouts from, say, a game company or a tech company rather, where it's like obviously completely different. And given that tech is a big part of our lives, we shouldn't be allowing this. It's dangerous for tech to be in the hands of not just the government, but also the people who are corrupt with it. This is exactly what I mean. I think part of the solution, other than getting a third party, is just get rid of these fucking, these greedy cunts, these corrupt idiots in these positions of power. As simple as. I hate the fact that the 3 big hardware companies for computers at the moment are pretty much like they're all in bed with Trump. That was like extremely fucking gross. Like, what the hell is even happening here? It just genuinely doesn't make any sense. I can't wrap my head around it. But once again, I say that there should be systems in place for voting. For example, I don't think someone with a, it depends on the criminal record really, but someone with a really heavy criminal record should be able to vote. So someone with accounts of murder, for example, shouldn't be able to vote. If it's like an accident or something, then it's kind of more of a grey area. There's maybe situations where that needs to be under review and need to say like, okay, you can vote, this was actually an accident, we believe it was. But there's also part of it where you could say like, we're maybe urging on the safe side here, but you can't vote because we don't think it was an accident. But the conclusion is not clear. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, it's not voter suppression based on ethnicity or circumstance. It's based on entirely factual evidence, and that's the difference between what we're seeing with Tennessee, where they've removed black voting rights. Yep, you've heard that right. They're removing black voter rights because black people. Like, there wasn't any reason really, which is fucking ridiculous given that there are black Republicans and even black people in courts and Supreme Courts. Like, what the fuck is even going on? It just doesn't make any sense, and the corruption just reaches new levels every time, I swear. But yeah, this is essentially why it becomes a problem. And why it needs addressing, obviously. I just can't believe it. Again, third party and simply taking back what's yours. In my opinion, I think a stolen asset is something where you've had something taken from you unjustly, and in the case of, billionaires, literally, billionaires are taking assets from you. They're taking your property, they're taking your money, they're taking your livelihoods. So, why are we surprised when someone attempts something on them? Well, we're not. It's not surprising anymore. And that's just going to happen more and more in this world. Anyway, I don't really have anything else to say. It's not a really great note to end on, but either way, I think we need a new system and then obviously a new constitution. Not that we should really follow it, to be honest, because obviously it's broken, doesn't work, there's nothing there. Yeah, anyway, it's just a suggestion really, is to be discussed, but let's move on to the next topic in this one. Alright, so the STS2 controversy, crediting Anita Sarkeesian as someone who contributed to the game, apparently, as a consultant, apparently. Yeah, basically there's been an influx of negative reviews on Steam, and this seemingly comes from a bunch of misogynists, and also seem to be fake accounts, I think, because there's like nobody online. I think a lot of these are just bots and stuff, and they all seem to be liking each other's posts because they're usually in like the 700 helpful range or something. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it's really bad, and like I saw read this one review here which has 63 hours on record. Finding out that 843 people found it helpful. That's pretty long, actually. It's just questions and answers. Okay. There's like nothing here about Anita, I don't think. Wait, so it's like a genuine positive review, or a negative review, I mean. Okay. Well, ones that mention Anita, okay, is part of the game, I don't want to play this is how I feel with these principles. I can handle a shit boss in the patch, but I can't abide as hiring Anita Sarkeesian weeks after you've already collected money for your supporters. If you're confident in your choice, then allow refunds for the people who purchase this. The game is far. You won't mess a mistake. Regret spending any cash of you. The fuck are you on about? It's obvious a bot as well, because there's like 0 comments. A few people will find it funny, and I don't know anyone that find it helpful. There's barely anything here. And then there's like plenty of reviews not even mentioning Anita. There are some, it's not updating. Well, maybe because of the capitalisation. So people are trying to overwrite the thing. But the thing is, these reviews only mention Anita, and then they don't say what the problem is. So this is obviously where I did some research. There's one here saying, I wouldn't have bought the game if I knew Anita's Sarkeesian being involved. You choose to lie to your community by omission. Now you count on me to support you for anything in the future. Valve, do the right thing, accept all refunds of requests, and not listen to new information, regardless of eligibility. Like, that's not even fucking helpful. You're just saying a name and then not describing an issue. Like, it's like, for example, if you had Trump involved in a game somehow, and you only credit it after, like, I don't get it. Because if you explain some problems with Trump, like the worrying case, like say the politics with Trump are extremely concerning, especially for gamers, I get it. But here there's nothing. And then look, let's look at another one. A typical Anita Sarkeesian involved game. Spend more time on trying to comply with the community using bias like a knee-jerk reaction, making the game itself playable, trying to get my refund. One of the developers just spent time at becoming reviews around a knee-jerk reaction. Impressive balanced direction, a card pulled full of tricky power. It's just a review basically. But it's just such a typical Anita Sarkeesian involved game. What? It doesn't explain anything about anything here. There's no explanation. You got people who've got like hours on the game and still have these negative reviews. There's even someone here with 768. It's not Anita, is it? Again, it's like, well, look at there's no mention. But yeah, it's just really stupid, and as usual it's like really dumb. It's AI slop, and that's pretty much all this is at this point. Yeah, someone's saying activists ruin everything. Nope. Activists are why you're here, by the way, you fucking idiot. I guess we should make an activist party to get rid of you then. See how that feels. Anyway, I decided to look at Anita Sarkeesian's site to see, and I looked at the part about video game involvement because I'm curious about what this is about. So she says, I'm the creator of Peabody, award-winning tropes versus women in video games. Critical Games video series exploring the history of women's representation in gaming. That has garnered nearly 14 million views on YouTube alone. My work as a media critic, public speaker, and a producer who thrives at the intersection of digital culture, accessibility, and social justice, help create a new lexicon and spark the paradigm-shifting conversation about improving representations of marginalised people in video games. This work has brought me into international spotlight in the fight for an end to online harassment and all forms of toxic behaviour online. I care deeply about justice. That drive takes me in all sorts of directions, whether it's hosting a podcast about feminism and popular culture, creating a video series about fascinating historical women who must not be forgotten, or creating an emotional support hotline for the gaming community. About the core, everything I do is designed to dismantle social, economic and political barriers that put women at a disadvantage. Hopefully she's not with Trump in that then. That would make me worried. Yeah, but based on that description, like, it's not really a bad thing, in all honesty. It does seem like there are good intentions there, but at least, again, improving women's rights and also representation. So, lots of Steam reviews are just shit, and then as this discussion that came up in the search for this in .go, and apparently she made a series of accusations about video games being sexist, involving fallacious claims. One first involved Hitman games, where she went over a way to get footage of her killing female civilians and dragging the corpses around. Gaming that was what the game was about. Lots of people criticised her for it. Some people wanted to jump to her defence, and she, along with Zoe Quinn, who I believe she was sleeping with reviewers for her schools or something like that. Don't quote me. What? Sorry, that just makes no sense. No fucking source for this. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. Like, that's just really fucking scummy. Like, I'm actually reporting that. Like, what the fuck are you on about? You're making claims here about sourcing anything, and there's a cunt outside fucking using a bike. What are they even doing? Are they trying to come on their bike or something and get them fucking arrested for masturbating in public? That's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, Yeah, this comment's just stupid. Which one does it actually? Harassment, bullying, sort of favour, scams, theft, is there anything for misinformation? I guess I'll put out other, like, possible misinformation. There we go. Where's that bike back? Sorry, I can't do anything with this fucking noise. It's a bunch of fucking idiots. Where's that even coming from? It's just someone going around in circles. Fucking nonce. It's only 9:51 in the morning, so what the fuck are they doing? It's a weekend. Jesus Christ. Average reform votes are probably. Yeah, the comments are a bit stupid. So yeah, basically, there isn't really anything cited for this. There's no evidence. It's just like, Anita Sarkeesian bad. Bad why is my question. But as it currently stands, there isn't any proof of this, so I have no reason to believe that these reviews are correct, and not to mention, it's a review bombing, so that immediately makes it lose credit. It's not based on the game, it's based on someone associated with it. It's like saying that, oh, Fortnite's a bad game because Epstein played it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? People don't even hold it to that standard. Yet, nothing is done about that. It's ironic that people now here are targeting a fucking woman instead of targeting a convicted paedophile and rapist who is associated with Fortnite. Well, yes, he played it. I mean, he's not probably in the developer notes, so I don't know for certain. But, you know, it's the same fucking thing. It just doesn't make any sense. It's such a big double standard, and I'd literally say something like, I don't want to play Fortnite anymore because it's now affiliated with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. So yeah, there's like a massive double standard there, obviously. Just why I find this so ridiculous. But in terms of like the feminist stuff with trying to change the representation, I could definitely get on board with that. There's a lot of terrible representation for women in not just games but movies and TV in general. It seems to happen a lot for some reason. It's like Hollywood that absolutely is obsessed with getting women's boobs out. And you know, you just don't need to all the time. It's fucking weird. You literally do not need to do that. Apparently she's a 9 tips for designing better female characters in video games. It's saying it's a free ebook, but I don't know if that is. Like, yeah, I think it's a PDF. Let me look it up. 9 tips for designing better female characters. Because, like, this is the other thing. People didn't even really care about, say, the Spyro 2 being obviously touched by Anita here. And, you know, now they know about it, they're like, no, you can't have this. They don't even fucking care about what she's even done here. So, it's ridiculous. So let's see, there's this ebook here. I'm not going to read the fine print, but I'm going to look at the titles. Lingerie is not armour. Good examples: XCOM, Apex Legends. Bad examples: Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, Cry and Metal Gear Solid 5. That doesn't sound right, because I thought the entire reason Lara Croft was like less dressed is specifically to obviously have less weight so that she can do the parkour. I could be wrong about that. I'm not even a Tomb Raider guy, but that seems incorrect. It's not even a bad example. It's just a complete red herring. It's like a straw man, actually. You're attacking this with something else, and I don't know who Cry is in the Metal Gear Solid 5. I've never played it. Let me look it up. I don't know, I think that could be a good example. I think the main thing is that it's like hypersexualization, because obviously the breasts are quite exposed, that's the only thing. Gendered signifiers, let's see. Good examples, Towerfall, Night in the Woods. Bad examples, Miss Pac-Man, Adventures of Lolo. I can actually sort of see that though. It's like, I know with signifiers the problem is it's when they have like a, for example, like the bow tie or the flower that represents them. It's not good. I'm surprised that like Deltarune wasn't included in this, or Undertale, because that's actually better. Like you literally see it in those games where the character, I think Frisk is gender fluid, and is Chris gender fluid or agender? I can't remember actually. Yeah, Chris is someone anyway. But you know that their gender signifiers, not gender signifiers. I mean non. It's basically neutral, and that's how you design a character. The same with like Susie, I guess. Because there isn't really a signifier there. She's dressing a way that it's kind of cool. She's dressed like a badass, essentially. But I guess gender signifiers probably an issue, so I can't agree with that. Gender neutral language. What? What's like congressmen, mankind, mailman, and phrases like "Hey guys," all default to male and automatically exclude people of any other gender. Does it? I don't know if this is even like correct or not. The thing is, it's also called mankind, so do we just say womankind? That's kind of the problem. Like, what is even being said here? It's like it really depends on obviously what the science is as well. Because how we ever come up with these names, I don't think it is necessarily something that's dominated by men, as mentioned here. I think it's literally just the name they come up with. It's meant to, because we have human in the name, do we just say human? Well, that's why this doesn't make sense, and the man usually refers to human. So we could say humankind, which actually is a word, by the way. Congressman, like, I don't think you can change really. It's got like Congress human, I guess. Male man, male human. Hey guys is actually a neutral term. So this is incorrect. This I don't agree with. Next thing, number 4, one size does not fit all. Good examples: Overwatch, Sea of Thieves. Bad examples: majority of video game history. What? I have to read this. Regardless of game or genre, many playable female characters share almost identical body types, slender with long legs, and often with massive exaggerated breasts. They tend to be in their early 20s and predominantly white, except on the rare occasion when women of colour are exotified. In American number 5, historically games have rarely featured older women or women of varying shapes, while sizes who fall out of extremely narrow centerfold aesthetic, unless they are evil and designed to be repulsive or a joke. I'm surprised that the bad example doesn't include something like Genshin Impact, but maybe this was made quite early on before that game. Because I think HYPERSKY, and this is actually one of my criticisms, I fucking detested the fact that everyone looks like a young female. Not that it's like a preference thing, I'm not hating on women. It's just that I hate the fact that they're all young characters. And then you've got someone like Citlali, who's like a granny, and she doesn't even look fucking old. Like, it makes no sense. And then you've got elderly characters in the game, which fair enough, it's like NPCs and stuff. But it just doesn't work, and I agree with the sort of slender body type as well. So you definitely have more sort of, I guess, chubby women. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to say. Obviously, ones that are not slender, and ones that are not long legs, and ones that don't have massive breasts. But it's crazy, but I think the problem is it often comes down to when it's like an artist or a designer, it depends on who's creating it. It's often done by men, and then they try to see the best version of a character, like a woman. And, even sadly in the case of One Piece, which is an amazing fucking series, it really does over-sexualise women in that sense. Like Nami is, well, extremely hot, and Robin is extremely hot as well. Obviously that's a subjective thing, but yeah, they follow the stereotype, so yeah, that's one of the bad things I've said about One Piece before. It's just I don't like the designs. I prefer when, not necessarily they're more dressed, but and they're actually different characters. Like there was that one female character in Baroque Works who was not only black, but she was also extremely strong. She was like masculine. It's rare to see a character like that. It really took me off guard, given how early on it was in the series. But we haven't seen a character like that since, other than obviously like a funny, goofy character like who's that Shinobi character? I can't remember her name, but she is great. But yeah, basically, I don't like one size fits all. There is more types of body language, or body types, I mean, language. So what's next? Oh, So Exotic, number 5. Good examples, Dishonored 2, Uncharted S2 Legacy. Bad examples, Far Cry 3, Diablo 3. So women in games are overwhelmingly sexualised, they're also overwhelmingly white. It's an important conversation about the representation of women in games. Don't boil it down to resulting in better representations of white women in games. Women of colour must be actively included as characters of all types of roles. Well, this is the thing I said in the last one. Oftentimes, it's a case of being made in the eye of the creator, and they don't often include people of colour until it's like a later consideration. It doesn't mean people are strictly trying to sexualise women. I think it just means they're trying to make a character get it over and done with, essentially, and not really give it much thought. That's why, in a case of like Undertale or Deltarune, they have such unique characters, and even a sort of more modern example, I guess, probably Baldur's Gate 3, if I'm not mistaken, has some pretty good female characters. It's quite sexualised in some ways, but not entirely. It's not its entire premise, either way. But yeah, I guess I can sort of agree with this, but also disagree. And in terms of skin colour, that's the same thing. It's not often the first intention. It's like people grow up with majority white people in Western worlds. I know in school we had like 3 or 4 black people with about 200 kids or something. That was including teachers, and we didn't really have black teachers. So oftentimes you could pick out the black people because of the 200 people, they obviously stood out the most, but a lot of people don't really pay attention either way. When it comes to that sort of thing as well, like they would already established that they exist here, they are living here. But again, it's not a consideration of people because it's like so used to it and what people are attracted to, and unfortunately there's like this, I guess, bias in terms of attractiveness and sexuality, where there is a case where people are only attracted to a certain skin colour. So I think that's why in the image of other people you don't always make it that way. But whenever I'm sort of designing a character or writing something, I try to include diversity as much as I can, not for my sake, but for others. Yeah, I suppose that. It's also kind of one of the problems with One Piece, actually, and they did fix it in live action, I think. Because Usopp, I think, is he mixed race or I can't remember his actor. I'm not going to say things, but it's good that they have people casting. Oh, Vivi's black. I remember now. Yeah, that's a big controversy. Ironically, the manga people didn't like that. Yeah, and the live action definitely fixed a lot of the issues of One Piece. So yeah, aim for gender parity. Good examples: Overwatch, Towerfall. Bad examples: Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Wait, what? I need to read this. Once upon a time, it was extremely common for games to include one female option and some point male characters, but looking at Left 4 Dead games, that's why. I was gonna say, like gender parity is probably a problem, yeah. But does it change the game? No. like, the problem with Team Fortress 2 is we don't know what the gender of Pyro is, so even if there is like a Pyro being female, it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest. In fact, Pyro is probably like the most progressive character in TF2 because of how many ways you can build Pyro to be like femme or masculine. It doesn't matter the gender really. But I don't know, I don't think gender parity is exactly an issue. I think a lot of times you should just be thankful that there is a female character, like with Left 4 Dead, for example. And also, that's the thing, Left 4 Dead characters, both Rochelle and Zoe actually have decent designs. Yeah, they're not skimpily dressed like Lara Croft. So, like, I don't understand the issue here. I know it's an overwhelming majority of men, but having the gender parity thing is more likely to kill a game. That's why you have a lot of people playing Overwatch back in the day. Because, like, yeah, people like female characters and like playing as them, but some people don't. And I don't know, like, sometimes it's fine, but other times it's like a misogynist thing. So that's not great, obviously. Yeah, I don't really agree with this exactly. It didn't change, obviously, how good TF2 is. TF2 is fine in terms of gender parity. Like, nobody really cares. In fact, I think a lot of women actually do play TF2, even though it's a more sort of man-based game, I guess you could call it. It's more like gritty and stuff. But it's not really an issue, as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to think of like a recent game. What other games were there with selection of roles and stuff? I don't know. But I don't agree with this. Next is number 7. How does she move? So, Destiny 2, good examples, Uncharted Lost Legacy. Bad examples, Catwoman from Batman Arkham City, STS2 4. Interested with STS2 4, be conscious of movement animation tools, female characters rigged, extremely exaggerated hip sways, or have your character walkways that are authentic and believable. For example, a soldier or a bounty hunter loaded up in armor shouldn't look like a supermodel striding down a catwalk, which does animations such as sitting, standing, and dancing as well. I guess so. I think I can agree with this. It's sort of an issue. I haven't noticed it before. I've never really noticed it in Saints Row, but because I made the male characters all the time. I still make male characters, to be fair. But again, it's not like an issue of disliking women. It's just the fact for having male characters, it sort of represents me a bit more. Yeah, like, I often question sometimes when people make female characters, it's often to do with like gooner shit. And that's sort of what's being demonstrated here. So again, I agree that there is an issue. I actually strictly choose male characters because I just don't like how they've done female characters as well. It feels like an over-sexualization again, and they again walk like going down a catwalk, striding down a catwalk. So yeah, there's a problem. It makes me curious what GTA 6 is going to do, given they have a female protagonist now. It's going to be interesting to see, I think. Yeah, good point. And then number 8, fighting or fucking. Good examples: Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Bad examples: Tomb Raider, League of Legends. What? Oh, make pain actually sound painful instead of like an orgasm. True. Yeah. This is an issue for sure. I have noticed it as well, like in various places. No, like Overwatch, no, not Overwatch, fuck. Genshin Impact, that's what I was thinking of. Genshin Impact has like the grunting noises with climbing and stuff, and even being hit by enemies and stuff. But they do sound very suspicious. If you listen to like the Lisa voice lines, for example, they're extremely fucking weird. They literally sound like they've been straight up pulled from a porno. Same with like model rigging and stuff, because they have like boob physics for some reason. But yeah, this does seem to be an issue. Like, it is a problem, I think. And it's ironic, obviously, me, a man, saying this shit. But this is actually a real problem. And there was also these examples. I think Tomb Raider's like a 12 unit, not an 18. League of Legends probably less as well. Probably like 12. But yeah, they shouldn't sound like they're having like an orgasm as like a fucking cry or something. Like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, next thing. Where are all the women combatants? Good examples: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Dishonored 2. Bad examples: Assassin's Creed, Dishonored. Huh? Okay. The tippers include humanized, sexualized female combatants. True. Yeah, I can sort of agree with this. Very often, and this is one thing that actually Genshin Impact does right, there are female combatants, although not gods for some reason. There seems to be a lack of them. It's only ever the playable characters. But I guess, yeah, there can be a lack of combatants in games. It does seem to be something where it's like strictly male ridden. Like, for example, you couldn't do this with a game like, Assassin's Creed actually, like, because it's here. This is the thing, I'm pretty sure Assassin's Creed is based on a period of history. So why would you have female combatants in a history lesson? It's a bit like saying that World War II, saying that there were like obviously soldiers in the trenches who were female combatants, which is false. There are primarily male combatants, and even the female ones often disguised as male combatants. Which I think is actually a thing, by the way. Pretty sure I learned that somewhere. But yeah, it does seem to be an issue. I don't really have anything else to say on this, to be honest. But in terms of this ebook, yeah, again, it's stuff that's agreeable and stuff that's not agreeable. Andrea's not armor, sort of agreed, but disagree with the examples. Gender signifiers, agree. Gender neutral language, agree. Actually, no, that was a disagree, wasn't it? Because it's like referring to the man in human. But yeah. Then one size does not fit all, agree. Oh, so exotic, was it? Yeah, agree. For gender parities, disagree. Mostly. How does she move? Agree. Fighting and fucking, agree. Well, all the women combatants agree, so yeah, it's mainly agree. So people are just throwing a hissy fit over nothing, and this really proves it. Like, people don't do their research. Anyway, it's actually an interesting point to end the podcast, I think. So I've got tasks to do, which is annoying. But yeah, I felt like talking about this because obviously this sort of shit is annoying to see. The review bombing, and because of one person who, yeah, again, as I've not fully agreed with everything, I do agree with most things. Because there are real issues here. And it's just fucking pathetic that there are so many weak males here. Because I will start calling them that at this point. Because a lot of the people seem to think, oh, we have obedience. I don't know, like, something over women, I forgot the term actually. Authority, that's it. They think they have authority over women, but the reality is they don't. Women have authority over women. And yeah, that should be how it is. The same way that males have authority over males. It's never a case where no person owns another person. It's just we're all in our own bodies trying to get by. And you can't change, obviously, being born in these bodies, so yeah, as I said, it's real fucking annoying. This shit's really weird. But also, yeah, just a bunch of weak males on Steam. Just obviously ignore it at this point, report it if you can, probably. Hopefully Valve does something and reverses it. Seems necessary at this point. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll see everyone next time.